Hi, I'm Owen. And I'm a mini Holland. So first off, I can't take credit for building it. I can just take credit for maintaining it. It's been together since the mid 90s. It was originally built in the early 90s with an A series motor. I think the roll cage was in 1993. The guy that built it, Stu Kingston, he's from Wellington. I think he's out the airport way. Built it in the garage. They kept blowing gearboxes every 400 kilometres. He reckons he could just about set the rally computer to 400 k's and be a new gearbox. So he wanted something that was a bit more power, a bit more reliable. So what was hanging around at the time was the Honda City turbo motor. He put that in there, ran it for a while with just a turbo. It went all right, but then he wanted more power, as always happens. So put a bigger turbo on there and found it had heaps of boost lag, and it was dangerous coming out of the corners because you'd floor it, wouldn't go anywhere, and then all of a sudden the boost would come in and you'd be up the road. So to fix the massive boost lag, he put a Toyota supercharger on there, designed, developed as a crossover system so that you get instant boost from the supercharger, feeds into the turbo. Put it all together, found out there were still issues. Found out the wastegate was jamming, so as well I wasn't getting any boost. But he'd already developed the system, so I thought, fuck it, I'll run with it. So he played around with it some more, got it running properly. It filled up a logbook with all the events that it did in between 95 and 2005, and then he lost interest, got into turbo Mazdas and stuff like that. So it went down the road a few hands, and then I've had minis since I was about 11. Driving up and down the driveway, learning how to use a clutch. My dad would sit there with a handle of beer, and if I bunny hopped it and spilt the beer, the lesson was over for the day. And then he kept trying to teach me how to take off nice and slowly without riding the clutch and all that sort of stuff, and I kept stalling it. So he, being a mini, just put his feet over, said, all right, you just hold on to the wheel. I don't know if I've been smooth enough that he'd had a couple of beers by then, but he, I think I was about 12 years old doing my first burnout up the driveway. Because we stripped it out, it was my uncle's mini that he'd bought when he was like 17 or something. One of my earliest memories is driving, I was on the passenger seat steering the mini from the passenger seat around the New World car park in Hamilton. So always wanted the car. We got a whole bunch of rust stuff done to it. It was really tidy body. And then I was about, 15 and got into drag racing and V8s and stuff like that. And the mini was sitting at Dad's place under a lean-through, under cover. It just got rusted out. In the meantime, we bought another mini that was, they'd said it was too good to scrap, but in the late 90s, minis were, $300 or whatever. We ended up buying it. Dad's a home brewer, moonshine or whatever. We bought it for $350 and a 4 litre of brandy. I've still got that car now. Back in 2016 or something, moved to Wellington, bought a house, and my dad said, oh, now you've got a garage, you can have your fucking minis. So I got both minis down here, found my very first one was just too rusty and got rid of that. Went to buy it back about a year later and he'd chopped the front off for a barbecue. So, well, let's settle that deal. And I thought with the minis, I'll join the mini club because I didn't know anyone in Wellington. So join the MOOG, do some stuff with them, and because I was in the General Motors Enthusiast Club in Auckland for about 10 years. So that was a good way to meet people. Joined the club. We went on a bit of a drive up to Taupo one day, and my other mini had been down to Mary from Auckland plenty of times, but never a really long trip like Taupo. And we got through Tie Happy, and it was, you get to know your car after you've had it for about 17 years, and it was starting to make a funny noise, and the oil pressure was dropping a bit. So decided to die on the uphill just before Waiuru. And I was smiling, and everyone was going, "Why are you smiling? You're just blowing a motor." Well, I've got all these speed parts that I've been buying along the ways, and now I can use them because I was just trying to kill that motor. The other motor, the other Mini has probably done 100 odd drag racing passes. So being mean to it all through being, 17, whatever. And thought, cool, now I can build a motor. In the meantime, we had other club runs, and one of the guys in the club, he's got a Clubman that's all been de-seamed, and it's got a 1380 and stuff like that. And he bought this from Auckland, saw it on Trade Me for cheap, spent a bunch of money getting it legal, but never really used it because he didn't fit in the seat properly. And he said, "Oh, if your car," I said, "Oh, I can't come, my car's blown up." He said, "Will you take this?" Okay. So I cruised around for a while. I probably drove it more than he did because I liked all the bells and whistles. And then he was doing renovations. Said, "Do you want to buy it?" "Yep." "Okay." So I bought it, and then I found out that you need to have authority card for roll cage and motorsport license and all that sort of carry on. So and it doesn't count when you go drag racing. Those events don't count for that stuff. So got into a bit of circuit stuff, well, not circuit, but hill climb stuff with the Hutt Valley Motorsport Club and the autocrosses and things like that. So far, it hasn't had a proper full noise drag strip pass, which I've been drag racing since 2002, so it's pretty sad. But we should be good for something like a 15-second pass or something like that. But I've been doing heaps of autocross events. Found out that it's got 6 injectors in there, as I said before. We killed a head gasket because it fouled up the plugs, and you try and run it, and it would kill the plugs. Still injecting gas, so it had to go somewhere. It went out the head gasket. So we've had the motor out. To do an oil change on this is, I think it's something like somewhere between 17 and 21 bolts. So that's to do an oil change. You can imagine how much stuff you got to pull apart to take the motor out. It's new head gasket, headmaster redid the head. We found a little bit more power. It's something like 135 horsepower at the wheels, which stock Honda City Turbo is about 110. So the fact that it's been together for 25 years and still making the same or more power is, I think, pretty good. I've got spare gearboxes, but apparently he's never done a gearbox. So all this fixed the gearbox problem. As you can see on the front there, we've got 2 water radiators, a third water radiator in the back, oil cooler, intercooler, piping for Africa. The pipes run through the car, which is nice on a cold day. You sort of sit your hand here and warm it up. And 2.5 or 3 inches exhaust that goes through keeps the feet warm on the other side as well. It's all solid mounted engine and everything like that. Suspension wise, it's just traditional mini high-lows and things like that. It does have a lot of reinforcement around especially in the back, so it does jump. I have tried once or twice. It's still together, so it does jump. It's just about using it and maintaining it now. Well, and as has been pointed out, tidying. I sort of like rat rods. I think there's a few too many now, and people making good stuff look rusty just for that rat rod look, and I'm not about that. But if it's used and abused and got its war scars, I think that's more fitting. And if I go to a track day or a hill climb and I cock it up, then nobody's going to notice too much. The other car at home is that's been painted. It's got metal flake roof and stuff like that. I'd be a bit more upset if I fit that one. Although with repairing some of the custom stuff on this, I think it'd be pretty tricky as well. It's all certified and legal for Honda motor and the swap. It's got bigger 1275 GT brakes, so I have to have the 13-inch wheels. It's also came with sets of rally tyres with the big knobbies on it, with MG midget 13-inch wheels, which is the same stud fit and everything. Well, one of the funny stories about the radiator in the back is apparently they used to put garlic bread in the back of it, and when they did the snow rally in Awakuni, they get to the top of the hill and the garlic bread was warm. So I've yet to try that out, but I've heard that from a couple of different people. There's a guy, Tim Soleil, I think it is, James Soleil with the imp. And he came up to me at Port Road Street Sprint one day and said, has it still got the pie warmer in the back? Because he went to university with Stu, and when they built it at university, they used to put Big Ben pies in the back. If you're ever following this and it smells like garlic, don't worry, lunch is nearly ready. But yeah, that's a bit of the car. Any questions on the car at all? Got Yokohama AO48 tyres, which work pretty well. It's opened up, so it does spin one wheel and wears them out pretty quick. That'll be an upgrade in the future sometime. It runs a modified factory computer. It's apparently Stu's dad was a TV repairman, and they wanted to adjust the rev limit. When they pulled it apart, they found it had the same chips as some TVs. So they found a different megahertz chip. So it's got some TV chip. It gives me a much higher red line, but if I take it over 6,000 RPM, which I took it about 6.5 a couple of times at Port Road Street Sprint, it tends to get a little bit of piston on the spark plugs. So we're going to address the fuel issue, whether it be a delivery issue or injector's not good enough, whatever it is. But it's not terribly fast when it comes to the Port Road Street Sprint stuff. And with the multiplier, like it's 1.24, I think it is, displacement, and you times that by the 1.8 for the turbo, ends up at 2048 cc. So it's I end up in the D class, which is 2 litre and over. So at Port Road, I was up against like 700 horsepower Skylines and all that sort of stuff. So you can make it as light as you want, but if you got 135 and you're racing 700, it's no chance. So I'm there to make up numbers, but it's quite good telling the missus that it's the law. I have to go and do 2 events a year to keep my motorsport license and authority card and all that sort of stuff. So it's a legal requirement that I go and do racing events. Keep that in mind if need an excuse. Toyota SC12 supercharger. It's in the Honda City turbos. In the Honda Cities, this is the factory air conditioning location, because the Honda motor spins backwards to a Toyota motor. And I guess instead of designing a new air conditioning unit that would sit in the front, they just put the air conditioning unit outside here so it would spin the right way. So it's got the factory Toyota clutch pulley, electric clutch, which is on a switch on the dash. So it used to be on the gear stick like a Eaton Fuller shifter, but just to tie it up, it got put in the dash. So you can drive around just on turbo, but the lag is real. On high boost, it's about 19 and a half pound. On low boost, about 8 or 10. Low boost is safe as you like, but fuel-wise, but a bit boring. My daughter, she's been coming out with me for a few years in it. She's 10 now, but when she's 6 or 7, was, should we hit this crazy switch? And flick the switch and do wheel spins up the road. So trying to get her into a bit of drag racing. I've got a junior dragster at home for her, but I might have to paint it Barbie colours or something. And a bigger Mitsubishi Turbo. So it's a bit of a mixed match of what was sitting around. Toyota, Mitsubishi, Honda. The bonnet catches for the flip front, Morris Marina door locks. The bonnet puller is like a Datsun, like a Sunny or something like that. I think, aside from the body, the only real mini stuff, suspension-wise and that, only real mini thing is, I think, that radiator. And that's about all. And the wipers, which Lucas Electrics, that needs to be replaced. Roll cage was done by Ken Douglas up in Levin. He's well known for mini stuff. I think his daughter holds one of the records for, or daughter-in-law holds one of the records for a mini, A-series mini around Manfield. Their car was something like 470 kilos, so the Colin Chapman had lightness thing. More speed holes than anything. Seatbelts from Tricky Angel Motorsport a couple of years ago. They worked well. As I'm getting older, I've decided I need a bit more safety, so by the end of the year we'll get a helmet and harness done as well. Someone said something about dropping a 10mm the other day, or earlier today. There's a bracket here that is broken, but so this bracket over here holding the radiator on at Port Road, I was taking this off and to check the spark plugs, and every time I take this off, I put it in the gutter here. It has worked well 100 times, but at Port Road, I dropped it and went think, think, think down there. I thought, well, that's gone forever. So I took the one from there, put it in here, everything's fine, carried on racing for the day. At the end of the day, we're packing up. We've just finished putting all the fences away and everything like that. Like, all right, see you guys, going home. And walking along, I saw a little shiny thing on the ground and picked it up, and it was my my screw that I lost earlier that day. It was the screw. It wasn't a screw that matched. It was the one I dropped. So somehow, you know, the universe wanted me to have that.
Somewhere else around the track, was it? Or?
Yeah, it was by the start line. So I dropped it in the pits, and then I think when I took off, I must have rolled out the back, and it didn't get run over. So it needs some love to get back straight again. But yeah, so we've got that. If anyone knows about welding or soldering brackets to radiators, wouldn't mind having a chat, because I'm scared of blowing holes in that. But yeah, that's my mini.
What's your favourite part about it?
All the noise. And just, yeah, flick switches on it, and I don't know, I'm a big child. I think it's, well, I think my first plan when I got the car was to put nitrous on it, because I thought it would be funny to have all 3 power radiators on one car. But then, like everyone says, like, oh, you should do this. Okay, where do I put it? Oh, you should do that. Oh, okay, where's it go? So there's no room for nitrous for it. The other car, the other mini is that's going to get the nitrous. It's I called a guy in Australia, Graham Russell. He's well known for doing small bore mini stuff in Australia. They've got the small bore, you know, the 850, 998, 1100, and then the big bore motors, the 575. He's well known for doing the small bore stuff, and he had these fancy pistons that are designed for boost and whatnot. And I called him up and said, "Are they suitable for nitrous?" He goes, "You bloody Kiwis, you're fucking nuts." Yep, true, but will they work? And so he's he sent me some pistons. Phil Dean up in Upper Hutt, who had a little bit to do with the Dejou, he's going to build me a motor. He's does a lot of Mini 7 motors. He's got a few tricks that he's not allowed to use in the Mini 7s. So in drag racing, we don't have the same rules as the Mini 7s. So we're going to go as far as we can with a small bore and put some nitrous on it. And a downdraft Weaver out the bonnet because I'm a child.
So do you have any, other than like trying to get the motor running a bit, better up top, do you have any sort of goals for this or?
A little bit more power, a little bit more reliability is probably the main key. I really want a better computer, and then we can put a few more sort of fail safes and instead of having a switch on the dash for the supercharger, it's got a throttle position sensor, so I'd like to tap into that and get, if I get the 50% throttle or a set RPM, then the supercharger will come on. Just things like that. Definitely a tidy up. It's, it gets a lot of attention when you go to a car show and stuff like that, and someone think, oh, don't look at it, it's a mess. But, it's got history. I was originally pretty keen to paint it, especially when I had the motor out. It would be much easier. I did paint the firewall and things like that. But it's got a bit of history around Wellington. There's, I think there's an EB1 Civic or something like that that's done in the same colours, same stripes, everything like that. I think Neil from Neil's Wheels, might have heard of him. He's I think he's still got the other Civic hanging about, so I might be cool to get some photos with them together, but I think it needs a freshen up and a bit more, I think, my personality. I don't have no idea what KPV Motorsport is, stuff like that can probably go and make it a bit more my personality, which I don't really know what it is. I don't think it'll be matte black with flames or anything, but just something a little tidier. It gets a lot of attention because of the noise and the motor and everything like that. But when I went to Paraparaumu Museum, Southwoods, they had a cars and coffee thing there. I drove the whole way there with the Mini Club. We had a guy that didn't want to take his Mini above 3,000 RPM, which a Mini at 100 Ks is nearly on 4,000 RPM. His Cooper S is probably worth 70 grand or something, so you could kind of understand it. So I was just driving with them. A few other people took off, and I thought, no, we're going to drive as a club. I'll sit behind them. So I'm probably in the fastest car at the punch, sitting behind the guy that's doing 80 up the motorway. Really sedate all the way up there. As soon as we got to the gate, turned the supercharger on, and it was like 42 revs just to move the 2 meters. Like I was just being a goose. And by the time I parked, I couldn't even get out the car. There's people with the window asking me all about this and that. Like, can I get out and then I'll show you whatever you like. And it was, I think we were there for 2.5 hours, and about 2 hours I spent by the car talking shit, and about half an hour looking at everything else. Which, I think it's kind of funny. It's every Mini is slightly different, but this one is a lot different. There's another Honda City turbo powered Mini in the South Island. No supercharger though. So who's he? Yeah.
Is there a story behind the 10 mil aluminium plate in the front here?
Just being a rally car, I think I've bounced into the like the BP driveway in Lower Hutt there. It's quite nasty, the driveway. I've hit on that before. If you're going over the wrong judder bar, because it goes back to about just the start of the door. It's quite long. If you go over a judder bar too fast, you sort of donk, and you get a big bash in the bottom. So it definitely is saving the sump there. The sump's been modified a little bit to fit around the I think the exhaust. there's something that goes right in the middle of the sump, so it's definitely been modified. Yeah, solid mounted motor. So when I drive over to Masterton, by the time I get there, my fingers are numb. And my left foot goes a bit numb from where it sits on the clutch rest. So it's just a full body experience to drive. Yeah, it's, you know, it's, minis are fun being all light and cool to chuck around corners. The other mini, I remember driving around in Papakura, there's a on-ramp, big circle, and Dad was telling me, oh, we should be able to pick up a wheel as we go around here. So we were looking out the window to see if we could pull the left, pull the wheel up as we were going around the corner and going through wheels. And, oh, that was hilarious. So I think I got hooked on that. But yeah, like I said, I've been drag racing since. I took my mini down the drag strip in 2002. First pass was, I think it was 24 seconds. And then 2 years later, we put a new motor in it. That was, 2004. I did the same meeting. And I did 21 seconds. And I've just been trying to beat 21 with that motor ever since. We put a lightened flywheel and new clutch and stuff in it. And then 2 weeks later, the motor blew. So when it all goes back together, it's got some cool bits. And the plan with the other mini is to do 16s. And this on paper should be doing 14s, but that assumes full traction, which front wheel drive, one wheel peel doesn't really do full traction. So I'm just hoping 15s. On paper or in the computer things with the power that we expect from the other mini, it says 15s, but I think 16 is safer. But yeah, it's not record breaking or world beating, but just a bit of fun. Man, my daughter loves it, so eventually it'll be pretty cool to see her turning around in it when she's 16 or so. Probably Barbie colours. Yeah. And then I thought I'd be cheeky and bring some batteries and some chargers along as well. My day job is I'm a car battery salesman. And I bought some of the performance range of batteries. So this little battery here, 680 cranking amps for 5 seconds. I've got one of these in the back of the mini. It'll start this no problem. Takes up a little bit less space. We mount it sideways, any which way, but upside down. And the one at the back there is 925 cranking amps for 5 seconds. Then drops down to 400. So that will start a 700 horsepower NASCAR motor. It does on one of the Trans Ams. The Jaguar Trans Am from Motoki Bernie runs one of those in it. And I've brought along like maintenance charger that if your car's stored in the garage over winter and whatnot, 3 amp maintenance charger, around about $100, and it just keeps the battery topped up. This particular 3 amp one will do lithium batteries as well. I know some kit cars and bits and pieces, people go lithium batteries now. I am still avoiding the lithium stuff a bit, but that's got lithium mode, because lithium batteries like to have a constant voltage, and most chargers will go up and down in amps and volts, and it fries the BMSs. So yeah, lithium mode for all that sort of stuff. And we also do all the Optima range of spiral cell stuff, which is huge run, but quite heavy. We'll also run winches and things like that if you've got off-road vehicles, all that sort of thing. So I've left some cards up here and a few pamphlets. If you're interested in some batteries will go in odd spaces and hard to find stuff. I can find most things in the battery world. But yeah, that's me. That's my mini.